Rewind the clock. Stop at the start. There was nothing but darkness. Nothing existed. Nothing was listed, not one book. You couldn't even like something on Facebook until, boom, a voice spoke. Something out of the nothing, swapping nothing for something as God of creation created something from nothing. God, who? The grafter of galaxies and crafter of creation, who turned on the solar and kicked off the system, who positioned the planets, orchestrated their orbits, who seasoned the sea and laid out the land, who mapped out the mountains and set out the sand, who made birds of the air and fish of the sea, who made mammals and animals, and made you and me, pinnacle of what's physical, ever better than the rest, even better than Everest. Grander than the canyon, with more depth than the ocean, formed us from the dust, he breathed us into motion. And as the Maker strolled through the trees with their luscious leaves, there strolled with him too, Adam and Eve. A two-way relationship of three in perfect harmony, an ever-flowing fountain of friendship with the ever-knowing, showing one rule: don't eat fruit from that tree. You see, that tree is out of bounds. On what grounds, says this slippery voice, then a choice or a trick, a serpent so slick, why can't you eat fruit from that tree? The serpent deceives Adam and Eve. A low-hanging fruit crunched, the off-limits fruit munched and eaten, and now there's just mess as sin takes its stage in the Garden of Eden. Sin breaks in and it changes everything. Perfection gets pierced, the friendship gets frayed, a rule broken, and now brokenness gets displayed, which makes for newfound open eyes, seeing sin reality of sadness, pain and lies. And as separation strolls in, it comes as no surprise that Adam and Eve leave the garden with the luscious leaves. And though God, the glorious gardener, is heartbroken, from the offset he sets his restoration plan to motion. The irreversible will be reversed, the wreckage rectified, the penalty paid for, dealt with and justified. One day what you've broken, I'll fix and restore, but it won't just be a touch-up job, but perfect, even better than before. One day I'll win you back. One day we'll be together once more. Fast forward to the festive. A messenger surprise. Shepherds in awe and wonder as the angels fill the skies. Mary's explanation of the conception situation that Joseph first off thinks are lies. Gift-giving astronomers with wisdom in their minds and worship in their hearts, and they can't believe their eyes because God's plan right from the start was a baby. And maybe it seems there's nothing stranger, but this baby in the manger was God's son who'd rise up to become our saviour, and what had birthed from a brokenness back when Eden friendship frayed was now carried on a cross as the penalty on him was nailed. Creation held its breath and went into mourning. And as morning finished its shift and day turned to noon, the sun turned off its light, sky like night in the afternoon. Death came, knocking on heaven's door as God's son breathed his last breath in no more. But there's more to the story, because death couldn't hold him, the grave could not control him, life burst through the tombstone sent rolling, because Jesus the Saviour's in the business of restoring. Payment completed, we can now be forgiven, our sin curse defeated, because he is risen. And so the remit's reclaimed, restoration, a new hope and creation, with a promise of a new world that's beyond our imagination. And it doesn't need any backing from Dragon's Deborah Mead, and it's God's business happening anyway. The promise of perfect Eden, perfectly planted trees, showcasing their luscious leaves, flowers dancing in the sunlight to the beat of the rhythmic breeze. No need for antihistamines, because these won't make you sneeze. A view that will leave you breathless. The hanging gardens of Babylon won't have a garden patch on this place, but the view is just a warm-up act compared to the main show, the God gardener himself, the maker, the molder, creator, the crafter, who invites us into paradise to play forever after. No more sin, no more pain, no more brokenness, no more shame, no more tears, no more sorrow. That's the perfect Eden promise of tomorrow.